Okay, hello. So this video I'm going to try and answer the query by Givré, who made a very difficult request. He doesn't realize how difficult it is, but I'm going to try. The difficulty is that it's a question entirely rooted in the material world, and it is requesting for a spiritual truth about material world question, material world situation. So I'll attempt this now, but I'm not sure it will be worth anything, to be frank. We will see. So let me read again his question. And he doesn't like when I read on the camera, but that's how it has to be. Because I'm not responding to a question, I'm not answering a question, I'm responding to a questioner, and I'm responding to a situation. And that's the only way it can be done. Truthfully. Of course, we can give all sorts of mundane answers which are valid in certain cultures, certain situations, which are rooted in ego and in cultural rules and societal rules and language, but they are not really going to help anyone. They are just going to assert a certain situation of a state of moral at a certain time in the history of mankind and in a certain geography. So let me go back to his request, because it's not even a question. There are multiple questions in his request. So let me try. So in the content chart. So interesting conversation today with a seeker in public service, powerful position, so to speak, trained as Catholic but breaking away gradually from conditioning. That's the observation and opinion and judgment, a positive judgment of Givré on that person he knows. He grew up hardcore Catholic, that person he mentions. What's right and wrong? Whatever you decide to be right and wrong in the current society where you live. If I let drugs through, so the person probably works in customs, and if he lets drugs through, is it wrong? Well, if you are requested to not let it through and let it through, yes, it will be deemed wrong by whoever instructed you not to let it go through. But it can be deemed very right by whoever is trying to smuggle the drugs, right? If I confiscate and get demoted for not playing with the rules, is that right? There's no right or wrong there, it's just the natural consequence. It's strange how some Indian people are not familiar with the very elementary basis of karma. Karma, there are consequences. It's not right or wrong. If you do something, there will be consequences. So if you confiscate drugs that, even though the rule said you had to confiscate them, but your boss was actually hoping you would not confiscate it and you will let it pass, you will be right as per the moral rule of the society, but you will be wrong as far as your boss is concerned if he's corrupt. If I don't partake in the corruption, I'm out. Well, not necessarily, but probably, depending on how deeply rooted and powerfully supported the corruption system is. But then, is it something you want to be part of? If I partake, then my family is better off, but my soul feels incomplete. Well, your soul will always feel incomplete no matter what you do. And are you sure your family will be better off? Because frankly, there are so many consequences to your choices. And you don't control what will be the ultimate good for your family within an hour even, within a day, within a week, within a month, within a year, within 10 years. You don't know. So since you don't know what is going to be good or bad for your family, you might as well do what you feel good about and then accept whatever consequences. But don't think for 1 second that you are right or wrong. It's just that you will feel right or not feel right, and there will be consequences no matter what you do. Some of them you will be happy with, some of them you won't. That's life. That's how it always works. No matter what you choose to do, there will be such consequences. Do I decide to let weed through as it less harmful and not let more serious chemical drugs through because it hurts people? Yeah, why not? That could be a criteria. But you probably overestimate your power on the well-being of society and underestimate your power on your own well-being. But if I don't let it through, I hurt my entire team. Do you? That relies on that money as the salary doesn't pay enough. It doesn't pay enough for what? There are other jobs. Why not work for the gangsters then, if you really want to follow the logic? You would probably get a better pay joining the trafficking team and maybe make even more money. And if you feel that's a desirable, positive outcome for your family, why not go all the way? What's right, what's wrong? It changes all the time. It changes at a single time. It changes from one jurisdiction to the other, from one family even to the other, from one person to the other. And then, even when you finally learn to adapt to the rules of what is right and wrong in a certain time and place, it's anyway going to change. What was acceptable 100 years ago is not acceptable today. What is acceptable today is not going to be acceptable even in 10 years sometime, even less. What was compulsory can become forbidden, and what was forbidden can become compulsory. These are just rules made by men to control men. When to determine if my action is right or wrong? Well, first of all, you don't have to. And second, there is a very simple, natural, and built-in system within you that tells you every moment whether you are feeling good or not. And basically, I'll give you a trick. Whenever you don't think, you feel great. Whenever you think, you start suffering. Suffering is a thought. It's a mental process. And all this is just storytelling, narrative, language, stories, rules, names, definitions, morals. I made a video on how most moral systems are just designed to justify violence. For example, it was considered a very moral and good thing to do to stone to death a woman caught cheating for many centuries in many geographies. Or to burn on the stake a woman who was deemed to be practicing acts of sorcery, which could include simply making decoctions of some herbal tea, medicine, like some herbal medicine. They would be called witches and burnt as a very good thing. Whoever did that was seen as helping society. And when will I be able to leave my job without having to choose between right and wrong? Never, or now. You can only do it now. You can never do it in the future, nor in the past. Are you able to do it? Yes, you are able to do it. There will, of course, be consequences. But by the way, don't underestimate that the universe has an infinite capability to adapt to your new decisions. And you will be surprised to see solutions appear which you never thought of only after you've made your decision. But then again, it depends also on your karma, and it depends on your ability to not project a new reality, a negative new reality, with your intensity of thoughts and narrative and projection of your future. I've already explained, so now it's Givré talking. I've already explained the duality of perspective between the perception of right and wrong. Well, I'm a bit worried when I read that. I hope you have not confused him even more. And requesting you to answer the question more directly rather than who is asking this question. Well, Givré, you are always asking for the impossible. You are insisting that I speaking as spirit conform to your little mind's view of what should be and should not be. That will not happen. I wish you would simply wake up. So, by the way, in this incarnation, I've been confronted to similar situations where I was even enticed into doing stuff which would not have been legal even. And by refusing, it cost me almost everything I had. In fact, more than everything I had. So it's not even almost. It cost me more than what I had. And I had to rebuild from scratch. Not even from scratch, from a negative situation. And if it was left to my own device as a limited small self to do that, I would have failed. But thank God I didn't think about it, and I didn't plan too much. I just stayed present, open, empty, and solutions keep just showing up, and you just need to not refuse them when they show up. However, your mind will go berserk and in panic mode, ringing all sorts of alarm bells, and you may capitulate before the universe takes you out of your misery. You may capitulate and re-embark on a rational solution, which is the right thing to do for your family. And so you think it is the right thing to do, you are afraid. It looks very scary to go the other way. And all those fears, they are rationally justified, but it's not the way it works in the multidimensional reality of the universe. But of course, the only way to find out is to dive, to jump into the abyss, the unknown, and see for yourself. And very few people have the courage to do that. And even amongst those who have the courage to do that, they have the courage to jump, but then along the way, along the fall, they start developing a new mind of their own, sometimes a spiritual mind, sometimes it's just the fear, sometimes it's some new desire along the way. So it's not, it's very simple, but it's not easy. It requires a mixture of courage and faith. If you don't have faith, you need a lot of courage. And the more faith you have, the less courage you need. But how do you develop that faith? It's by experiencing, by experimenting, by actually jumping, putting yourself at risk, and finding out that the universe got your back. Even the back of who you think you are. However, not that much. Because ultimately, the universe is not trying to sustain your little idea of who you are. It's not interested in that. It's not interested in making you rich. Making that little identity more successful than the other little identities. And when you think about it, even rationally it makes sense, because God or the universe, even if it was interested in money, which is a manly creation, it would tend to distribute it more equally. But that's not what you are interested in. You are interested in getting the biggest possible share you can for yourself, your little self, and sometimes you consider yourself selfless because you include a handful of people in your little self circle. So no, that the universe is not going to cooperate with that, but it will cooperate in any step you take in that direction, provided you actually trust and take the chance. However, it's not easy. It's very simple, but it's not easy. It requires courage or faith or both. So I wish you well. And at least, even if you choose to stay where you are and indulge in a little bit of corruption, of course, know that there will be karma resulting from that. And so consequences, not punishment, just natural checks and balances of the universe that will generate consequences that some of them you will not like, some you will. So, but just relax. You can at least relax in the satisfaction that there's nothing intrinsically bad or good. If you really want to decide that something is intrinsically bad, it would be to destroy life, to directly destroy life. Yeah, you can consider that bad, but then nothing is good really, because you don't have the power to promote life. You can only live it. And truly, you don't have the power to destroy life either when you really observe the truth of it. So there is no really good and bad, but there are social rules and moral rules and political rules and jurisdiction rules and laws, and there are enforcement systems, and you will experience some of this stuff But you can always choose to just be you now and emancipate yourself from all these useless thoughts. Just relax and look at everything now and just follow this good energy that you feel when you are doing something that you like, and trust that the universe is going to rearrange itself to make everybody's life compatible with that. So that's my advice. I'm not sure you will consider it helpful, but it's the best I can do. I wish you really the best, much love and courage and faith. Sayonara. Bye-bye.